Mark called me while I was cooking dinner. You sitting down? He asked. I'm stirring, I replied. Talk. Evan got fired. I paused. When? Today, Mark said. No warning. I turned off the stove and sat. Why? Victor blamed him for everything, he replied. Bad calls. Missed deadlines. I nodded. Figures. You don't sound happy, Mark said. I'm not sad either. He tried calling Lena, Mark added. And? I asked. She didn't answer. That felt expected. Mark said. She moved out. I exhaled slowly. Good. Good? He asked. Necessary, I replied. Silence stretched. You okay? Mark asked. I'm calm, I said. That's new. After we hung up, I finished cooking and ate alone. The quiet didn't scare me anymore. The next morning, I met a kid named Alex at a co-working space. You're the guy Nina mentioned? He asked. That's me, I said. He looked nervous. I don't know if I'm good enough. I smiled. Neither did I, he laughed. You? Yes, I said. Every day. We worked side by side. He asked questions. I answered honestly. At lunch, he said, How did you bounce back? I didn't bounce, I replied. I built. He frowned. From what? Nothing, I said. That's the point. Later, Mark texted. Victor looks stressed. I replied, Consequences age people. That night, Lena emailed me. I'm alone now. I didn't respond. I said to the screen. So was I. Work continued. Clients paid. Projects grew. My name spread quietly. Alex said one day, You don't panic. I used to, I replied. What changed? I stopped thinking loss was punishment, I said. He nodded slowly. What was it? A doorway, I replied. Mark called again. Evan's applying everywhere. Good, I said. You don't feel bad? No, I replied. I feel done. I trained Alex on a new project. He said, You saved me weeks. You'll save yourself years, I replied. At home, I looked around my apartment. Clean. Simple. Mine. I remembered sleeping in my car. I laughed softly. You survived. Mark asked later, Do you believe in karma? I believe in time, I replied, and time tells the truth. Evan texted once. I get it now. I deleted it. Lena didn't reach out again. I didn't wait. Alex said, You ever regret forgiving them? No, I said. I regret staying small. He looked at me. Just don't waste pain. One evening, Daniel nodded at me in the cafe. Still sharp. Sharper, I said. He smiled. Good. Walking home, I felt light. Not because they fell. Because I stood. Loss didn't ruin me. It rebuilt me. And I finally understood. It was never the punishment. It was the door. I stood in front of the mirror and said, You look different. The man staring back didn't argue. My shoulders were straighter, my eyes steadier. I touched my face and said, When did this happen? No answer came, but I knew it happened quietly. Mark noticed it first. You don't flinch anymore. At what? I asked. At the past. He replied. I smiled. It ran out of teeth. Work kept me busy. Good busy, Alex said one afternoon. You don't rush. I used to, I replied. What changed? I stopped chasing, I said. I started choosing. He nodded like he understood. One evening, I ran into Lena outside a bookstore. She froze. Hey, I said. She looked thinner, tired, her voice shook. You look good. Thanks, I replied. She swallowed. Can we talk? I checked my watch. For a minute? She nodded quickly. I think about you every day, I said. I don't. Her eyes filled. I deserve that. Yes, I replied. You do. She wiped her face. I ruined everything. You ended something, I said. That's not the same. She cried. I didn't. That surprised me. I'm not angry, I added. I am, she said. At myself. That's honest, I replied. She asked, Do you ever miss us? I thought for a moment. I miss who I thought we were. She nodded. I wish I'd fought harder. I wish you'd been honest sooner, I replied. She looked down. I hope you're happy. I am, I said, in a quiet way. She smiled through tears. You always wanted peace. I didn't know it, I replied. She stepped back. Take care. You too, I said. She walked away. I stood there feeling nothing sharp, just space. At home, I told Mark I saw Lena. He asked, How was it? Clean, I replied. That's good, he said. Later, Daniel nodded at me from the cafe. You found it. Found what? I asked. Your footing, he replied. I sat and said, Healing is strange. He smiled. It doesn't announce itself. At work, Alex said, I handled the meeting alone. How'd it go? I asked. I wasn't scared. He replied. I grinned. That's growth. That night, I looked at the mirror again and said, You survived. The man nodded back. I remembered the car. The silence. The weight, I said. You didn't break. I slept easily. In the morning, I texted Nina. Thank you. She replied. You earned it. I walked outside and breathed in the air. No rush. No ache. I whispered. This is enough. Healing didn't shout. In calm answers, in steady hands. In the way, I wished Lena well and meant it. I turned off the lights and said, I'm ready. Not for revenge, for livenge. And that felt like the final change. I sat alone in my new office. Lights off. City glowing through the glass. Mark called. You working late again? I'm just sitting, I replied. He laughed. That's new. I looked around. I like the quiet. You made it, he said. I arrived, I corrected. There was a knock on the door. Alex peeked in. Sorry, I forgot my notebook. Take it, I said. He hesitated. You okay? I am, I replied. He smiled. You never celebrate. I don't need noise, I said. After he left, I opened my laptop and reviewed the day's work. Clean. Done. I closed it. I leaned back and said, This was supposed to feel louder. I thought about the man I was when I lost everything. Angry. Small. Loud inside. I said to the empty room, You survived. The room didn't clap. I remembered Lena's face the last time we spoke, her tears. My calm. I whispered, I chose myself. That felt like the win. Daniel's words came back. Sharp, not shattered. I smiled. You were right. I stood and walked to the window. Cars moved below. Lives crossing. Nobody knew my story. I liked that. Mark texted again. Drinks this weekend? I replied, maybe. He sent, You're different. I typed, So is my life. I turned off the desk lamp and let the city lights fill the room. I remembered the office I was fired from. The chair that wasn't mine anymore. I said, They took my job. No anger, I said. They took my marriage. No ache. They didn't take me, I added. I packed my bag and headed for the door. Before leaving, I looked back at the office. I said, No applause needed. At home, I cooked dinner slowly. I ate without checking my phone. I washed the dishes and listened to the water. I said out loud, This is peace. My phone buzzed once more. Unknown number. I didn't open it. I placed the phone face down and said, Not today. I sat on the couch and breathed. I thought about revenge. How loud it would have been. How empty it would have felt. I didn't win by destroying anyone, I said. I stood and looked at my reflection in the dark window. Calm eyes. Steady posture. I won by staying, I whispered. I remembered sleeping in my car, counting coins, doubting everything. I said, That wasn't the end. I turned off the lights and walked toward the bedroom. Losing my job felt like failure. Losing my marriage felt like death. But standing here, alive and clear, I understood something simple. Endings lie. Beginnings whisper. I lay down and closed my eyes. They took my past, I said quietly. I smiled, but they didn't get my future. I slept without dreams. Morning would come, and I would meet it on my own terms. Nina called me on a Tuesday morning. I heard you're free, she said. That's one way to say unemployed, I replied. She laughed. I remember your work. You still sharp? I'm getting there. Good, she said. I need help, freelance, short term. I didn't hesitate. I'm in. Money came slower than fear, but it came. First invoice, then another. I stared at my bank app and said, Okay. Nina texted later, You always had this in you, I replied. I forgot. She wrote back, Don't again. Lena kept calling. I didn't answer. Her messages stacked up. Please talk, I miss you. We can fix this. I muted the thread. One night, Mark asked, Still ignoring her? Yes. Good, he said. Silence is louder than fights. At work, Evan's name popped up in conversations I wasn't part of anymore. Still, news traveled. Sarah messaged me from an unknown number. Don't save this contact, she wrote. What do you want? I asked. She replied, To clear my conscience. We met for coffee. She kept her voice low. He's getting reckless. Who? I asked. You know who, she said. Evan. I said nothing. He talks too much, she continued. Acts like he won. Did he? I asked. She looked at me. No, I sipped my coffee. Then why tell me? Because I watched them do you dirty, she said. And I said nothing. That's not loyalty, I replied. I know, she said. It's guilt. She told me about missed deadlines. About bad calls. About Victor losing patience. I didn't smile. I didn't ask questions. I listened. Later that night, I opened my laptop and worked until my eyes burned. I said out loud, focus. Another payment came in, then another. I bought groceries without checking prices. I smiled at that. At the gym, I added weight. My arms shook. Again, I told myself. Nina called again. Client loved it. Good, I said. You sound different, she added. I am, I replied. She paused. Better? Quieter, I said. One evening, my phone rang. Lena. I let it ring. I said to the room, not now. Evan sent nothing. That felt louder. Sarah texted again. He asked about you. I replied, why? He's nervous, she wrote. I stared at the screen and said, he should be. But I didn't move. I didn't strike. I didn't warn. I worked. Days stacked into weeks. My calendar filled. My body changed. My sleep improved. Mark noticed. You're standing taller. I stopped bending, I said. One night. Alone in the apartment, I looked at the city lights and said, revenge is loud. No one answered. I said, growth is quiet. That felt right. Sarah sent one last message. When this falls apart, it'll be ugly. I replied, it's not my mess anymore. She didn't respond. I shut my laptop and stretched my sore shoulders. I felt tired in a good way. I thought about Evan, about Lena, about Victor. Then I closed that door in my head. I whispered, patience. Money returned. Confidence followed, and for the first time, I realized something important. Revenge doesn't need noise. It needs time, and I had plenty of it now. The email came at 6:42 a.m. We'd like to move forward. I read it twice. Then I said, yes. I called Nina immediately. Tell me this is real. She laughed. It's real. Big contract. Long term. I sat on the edge of the bed and whispered, thank you. For what? She asked. For not giving up on me. She said, you did the work. I just opened the door. Money stopped being a question after that. Rent paid early. The bills cleared. I looked at my bank balance and said, breathe. Mark noticed first. You're smiling again. I forgot how, I replied. At the cafe, Daniel nodded at me. Sharper, he said. I smiled, still sharpening. Meanwhile, Evan's name came back, but different. Sarah texted. Victor pulled him off a project. I replied, interesting. She wrote, people are complaining. I didn't celebrate. Victor stopped liking Evan's posts. That detail came from Mark, who said, that man only backs winners. Lena called that night. I let it ring. She texted, you sound happy lately. I stared at the screen. You don't get access anymore, I said aloud. I replied, I'm busy. She sent another message. Can we talk? I answered no. The word felt clean. At work, my confidence returned quietly. Clients listened. Deadlines landed. Nina said, they trust you. I trust me, I replied. One afternoon, Sarah sent a final update. Evan asked why you're doing so well. I laughed. I'm not doing anything. She added, he's nervous. I said nothing. That evening, my phone buzzed with a name I hadn't seen in weeks. Evan. I watched it ring. Then I answered, what do you want? He paused. I was hoping we could talk. About? I asked. Things, he said. Clear the air, I smiled. Why now? He sighed. You're doing well. That's not my problem, I replied. Look, he said. I know I hurt you. You think you won? I didn't compete, I said. Another pause. So will you meet me? He asked. Yes, I said. On my terms. When? He asked. When I say, I replied. I hung up. Mark stared at me. You okay? I am, I said. I really am. That night, Lena texted again. I can see you've changed, I typed. So have I. She replied, I miss us. I deleted it. I stood by the window and looked at the city. Same lights. Different man. I said quietly, I don't need closure. No one argued. I didn't feel angry. I didn't feel proud. I felt steady. For the first time, the balance had shifted, and I was the one standing on solid ground. I met Evan at a quiet bar near the river. I arrived early and chose a seat facing the door. When he walked in, he looked smaller. He sat across from me and said, thanks for coming. Say what you need, I replied. He swallowed. I wanted your life. I nodded. Go on. Your job, he said. Your confidence. Your marriage. Lena sat beside him, silent, hands folded. She didn't look at me. Evan continued. You made it look easy. I wanted that. You took it, I said. He shook his head. I thought I could. I said nothing. He leaned forward. I watched you. I copied you. When Victor asked for names, I gave mine. I asked, and Lena? He hesitated. She felt alone. Lena whispered. I was wrong. I held up a hand. I'm listening. Evan exhaled. I wanted to win. Against me? I asked. Against myself, he said. I looked at Lena. Why didn't you talk to me? You didn't give me a chance, I said. She nodded, tears forming. I know. The bar hummed around us. I stayed quiet. Evan said. I regret it. I replied. Regret comes late. He looked down. I lost everything. That happens, I said. Lena said softly. I miss you. I forgive you. I said. Her head snapped up. You do? Yes, I said. For me. Hope flickered in her eyes. Does that mean no? I said gently. Forgiveness isn't return. She closed her eyes. I understand, Evan asked. What about me? I said. I don't need anything from you. He frowned. Not even revenge? I smiled slightly. Especially not revenge. He leaned back and laughed weakly. You always did that. Stayed calm. I learned it, I said. Lena whispered. I wish she'd been this quiet before. I was, I replied. You just weren't listening. She flinched. That's fair. Evan rubbed his hands together. So this is it? This is it, I said. He asked, do you hate us? I shook my head. Hate would mean you still matter. Silence settled again. Lena said, I ruined everything. You revealed it, I replied. There's a difference. She wiped her face. I don't know how to live with that. That part is yours, I said. Evan stood. I thought taking your life would fix mine. I looked up at him. Nothing stolen ever fits. He nodded slowly. You're right, I stood. This is where it ends. Lena stood too. Can we talk later? I shook my head. This was the talk, she whispered. I'm sorry. I believe you, I said. And I'm done, Evan said. You're better than me. I replied, I'm better than who I was. I walked toward the door. My chest felt lighter with every step. Outside, the air felt clean. I breathed deep and said, goodbye, without turning back. I didn't feel victorious. I felt finished. Some chapters don't need revenge. They need endings. I came home early that evening without telling Lena. I remember thinking, maybe I'll surprise her. I remember thinking maybe today ends better than it started. The house was quiet again. Lena? I called. No answer. I set my bag down and walked toward the bedroom. My steps slowed near the door. I don't know why. Something in my chest warned me. Lena, I said again, softer. I opened the door. Time stopped. She was on the bed. With Evan. Lena screamed. Oh my God. Evan didn't move. He just looked at me. Not shocked. Not scared. Calm. Double quotes. I can explain. Lena cried, pulling the sheet around herself. I didn't say anything. Man, this isn't what it looks like, Evan said. I stared at him. It looks very clear. Lena jumped off the bed. Please just listen. How long? I asked. She shook her head. It doesn't matter. It matters to me. Evan stood up slowly. You should go. I laughed quietly. You're in my house. He shrugged. Not for long. That hurt more than the scene itself. Lena stepped toward me. I didn't mean for you to find out like this. How did you mean for me to find out? I asked. She started crying. I was lonely. So was I said. I felt invisible, she said. I nodded. Now I understand. Evan cleared his throat. Look, I never wanted to hurt you. I turned to him. You took my job. That wasn't my call. You took my wife. He didn't answer that. Lena reached for my arm. Please don't leave. I stepped back. You already did. She whispered. I made a mistake. No, I said. You made a choice. My hands were shaking, but my voice stayed calm. That scared me. Evan grabbed his shirt. I'll give you space. Enjoy it, I replied. As he passed me, he said quietly. I didn't plan this. I looked him in the eye. Yes, you did. He didn't deny it. I walked out without another word. Outside, the air felt sharp. I got into my car and slammed the door. My whole body started shaking. I hit the steering wheel once. Then again. Both of you. I whispered. My phone buzzed. Lena. I turned it off. I leaned my head back and stared at the roof of the car. My chest hurt like something heavy was sitting on it. Job, I said out loud. Marriage. Both gone. Both taken by the same man. I drove until the streets blurred together. When I finally stopped, it was dark and quiet. I stayed in the car, watching my breath fog the window. I tried to cry. Nothing came. I tried to scream. Nothing came. All I felt was pressure. I slept in the car that night, curled awkwardly in the seat. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw the bedroom, the bed, Evan's calm face. At some point I laughed. A short, broken sound. So this is real, I said. I stared at the ceiling and realized something cold and clear. The life I trusted wasn't stolen in one day. It had been slipping away for a long time. I just wasn't ready to see it. Lena called me again the next morning. I didn't answer. She left a message. Please talk to me. I deleted it. She texted, we need to talk. I replied, no. An hour later she showed up outside my car. I'm not leaving, she said through the window. I stared ahead. Go home. This is my home too, she said. Not anymore. She stepped closer. Please. Just 5 minutes. I sighed and got out. Say it, she hugged herself. I was lonely, I laughed bitterly. So cheating fixes that? You were never there, she said. Your job came first. My job paid our bills. You were always tired, she replied, always stressed. So that gave you permission? She cried. I made a mistake. You made excuses, I said. She reached for my hand. I still love you, I pulled back. You loved him enough. Her face broke. It didn't mean anything. It meant everything, I said. You chose him. She whispered. I chose myself. That hurt more than anger ever could. I can't do this, I said. We're done. She shook her head. Please don't say that. I already lived it, I replied. I drove away before she could speak again. My phone buzzed later. Unknown number, I'm sorry. I never wanted this, Evan. I stared at the message. You wanted my life. I muttered. I blocked the number. That night, Mark helped me move what little I needed. A mattress, clothes, a box of memories. This place isn't much, Mark said, unlocking the apartment. It's enough, I replied. He looked at me. You okay? No, I said. But I will be. He nodded. Call me anytime. After he left, the silence returned. Different walls. Same pain. My phone rang. Mom, I answered. Helen's voice trembled. Mark told me. I'm fine, I lied. She said gently, you don't sound fine. I don't want to talk about it. That's okay, she replied. Just don't disappear. I won't, I said. We raised you stronger than this, she added. I swallowed. I hope so. That night, I lay on the mattress staring at the ceiling. Every memory played on repeat. Miss dinners. Her cold tone, Evan's smile, I whispered. How did I miss it? No answer came. I imagined confronting them again, yelling, breaking things, watching them regret it. Then I imagined walking away stronger. Which one heals? I asked myself. I didn't know. My chest burned with rage. My stomach twisted with shame. But beneath it all, something else stirred. Survival. I sat up and said, I won't disappear. The pain didn't leave, but neither did I. I didn't get out of bed until noon. The alarm kept ringing and I kept saying, later. Later never came. My phone buzzed with emails. Rejection after rejection. Thank you for your interest, I laughed. Interest doesn't pay rent. I sat up and looked at the bills on the table. Electric, internet, credit card. I said, great. I opened my laptop and refreshed my inbox again. Nothing new. I closed it and lay back down. This is it, I whispered. This is rock bottom. I skipped breakfast and walked to the cafe downstairs because I couldn't stand the apartment anymore. The barista asked, same as usual? I shook my head. Just coffee. I took a corner seat and stared at the wall. That chair taken? I looked up. An older man stood there, holding a cup. No, I said. He sat anyway. Mind if I join you? I don't mind, I replied. He sipped his coffee. You look like a man who lost something, I snorted. Everything. He smiled slightly. Name's Daniel. I didn't offer mine. That's fine, he said. Talk anyway. I hesitated, then said, I lost my job, my marriage too. He nodded. Same month? Same man? I replied. Daniel whistled softly. That's rough. Don't pity me, I said. I won't, he replied. Pity is lazy. I frowned. Then what is this? Listening, he said. Most people skip that part. I stared into my cup. I don't see a way out. He leaned back. Pain does two things to a man. I looked at him. What things? It shrinks him, Daniel said, or it sharpens him. I repeated it quietly. Shrinks or sharpens? You decide which, he added. I laughed without humor. Feels like it's crushing me. Only if you let it sit, he said. Pain needs motion. What kind of motion? I asked. Any, he replied. Stand up, walk, lift something heavy, write something honest. I sat there longer than planned. When I left, Daniel said, tomorrow matters. I said, so does today. Back home, I opened my resume. I changed one line, then another. I sent one application. Then two. My body felt weak, but my hands kept moving. That evening, I went for a run. It hurt. I said out loud, good. The next morning, I got up before the alarm. I still felt broken, but I wasn't asleep anymore. And for the first time since everything collapsed, I chose not to drown. I sat on the edge of the bed and said, you're still here. No one answered. I opened my bank app and shook my head. Okay, one day at a time. I called Mark. I'm not okay, I admitted. He said, that's honest. I met someone today, I added. A date? He joked. No, I said. A mirror. Mark paused. That sounds like progress. Maybe, I replied, or maybe I'm just tired of sinking. He said, that's how swimming starts. After we hung up, I did 10 push-ups. Then 10 more. I looked at myself in the mirror and said, you failed. Then I said, but you're still standing. I showered, dressed, and made a list. Job, health, sleep. I crossed nothing off, but I kept the paper. That night, I lay down and breathed slow. I said, tomorrow, sharpen. The ceiling didn't answer, but I felt something small and stubborn refuse to let go. I closed my eyes and pictured the cafe. Daniel's voice, the weight in my chest. I said, I don't need saving. I said, I need work. My phone stayed silent, but my mind didn't. I promised myself movement, even if it was ugly. Even if it hurt, even if no one noticed. I fell asleep repeating one sentence, I will not shrink. Morning came anyway, and for once, I was ready to meet it without hiding. That felt like the first win. I took it and kept breathing. I was halfway through my morning coffee when Victor Hale said, close the door. I smiled. Still standing. Sit down. That was when my stomach dropped. I sat. He folded his hands, stared at the table, and said, this isn't easy. I laughed once. You're scaring me. He cleared his throat. The company is restructuring. Your role is no longer needed. I blinked. What do you mean, not needed? It's a strategic decision. Victor, I said, leaning forward, my numbers are the highest on the team. He nodded quickly. This isn't about performance. Then what is it about? He hesitated, then said, we're moving in a different direction. Silence pressed between us. So I'm fired, I said. We prefer the term released. I stood up. Released for who? He looked away. Evan Cross will be taking over. The name hit harder than the words. Evan, the guy from logistics? Yes. You trained him, I said. I trained him. I know, Victor whispered. I grabbed my bag and said, you could have warned me. I was told not to. At my desk, coworkers pretended to type. No one spoke. I shoved my things into a box, my hands shaking. In the elevator, I called Lena. Voicemail. I called again. Hey, I said after the beep. Call me back. Something happened. Outside, the city felt louder than usual. I sat in my car and stared at the steering wheel. It's temporary, I told myself. We'll be fine. I drove home, replaying Victor's face, Evan's name, every late night I gave that place. At a red light, I called Lena again. Nothing, I texted. I lost my job. No reply. My chest tightened. I imagined her hug, her voice saying we'd figure it out. I still have my marriage, I said out loud. When I reached home, the house was quiet. Too quiet. I checked the kitchen. Empty. Bedroom. Empty. I sat on the edge of the bed and rubbed my face. This is just a bad day, I whispered. But the silence didn't answer back. I stared at my phone, waiting for Lena's name to light up the screen. It never did. That was when I understood the fear wasn't about money or work. Something else was slipping away, and I couldn't stop it. I leaned back, listening to the clock tick. I opened my laptop and checked my email again, hoping for a mistake. There was nothing. I paced the hallway and muttered, think. Just think. My phone stayed silent. I remembered Victor saying easy, remembered Evan's smile. Remembered every promise Lena made about always choosing us. I sat on the floor and said, I can fix this, even though I didn't know how. The walls felt closer. I pressed my palms together, breathed slowly, and told myself tomorrow would be better. But a quiet voice inside me whispered that today wasn't finished taking things away yet. I sat there until night came. Knowing the worst part was not losing something, but realizing how much I had believed in it. And how easily that belief had been taken without warning from me that morning. The house felt wrong the moment I stepped inside. Lena? I called nothing. I dropped my keys on the table and said, okay, like she could hear me. The clock ticked too loud. I checked my phone. No missed calls, no messages. She's busy, I muttered. That's all. I walked into the kitchen. Her mug was gone. The fridge was half empty. I leaned against the counter and said, stop overthinking. But my head didn't listen. I remembered the last few months. Missed dinners. Cold replies. Her saying, I'm tired, or not tonight, or we'll talk later. Later never came. I sat on the couch and stared at the wall. My phone buzzed. Mark. I answered fast. Hey, I heard about the job, he said. Man, I'm sorry. I'm fine, I said. It's nothing. Nothing doesn't sound like this, he replied. I'll figure it out. Are you home with Lena? I paused. Yeah. Good, he said. Don't be alone tonight. I'm not. I lied. After we hung up, I threw the phone on the cushion. Fine, I said to the room. I'm fine. Hours passed. The sky outside darkened. Every sound made me look up. When the door finally opened, it was almost 10. Lena walked in. You're late, I said. She froze. I texted you. I didn't get it. She avoided my eyes and said, work ran long. What kind of work? I asked. She sighed. Can we not do this? Do what? I asked. Talk? She set her bag down hard. I had a long day. So did I. She looked at me then. I know. You know? I asked. Then why didn't you answer your phone? I was busy, she snapped. With what? Does it matter? That hurt more than I expected. It matters to me, she crossed her arms. You're being dramatic. I laughed once. I lost my job today. I said I know, she replied. Mark told me. So you could answer him but not me? She opened her mouth, closed it, then said, I didn't want to fight. I'm not fighting, I said. I'm asking. She turned away. Something sharper. Who were you with? I asked. She stiffened. No one. That wasn't an answer. She grabbed a glass and said, You're tired. I'm tired. Let's talk tomorrow. You said that yesterday, I replied. She finally faced me. What do you want from me? I want you to look at me, I said quietly. Her eyes flicked away, my chest tightened. Are you hiding something? She shook her head too fast. You're imagining things. Then say it, I said. Say you're not. I'm not, she said, but her voice lacked weight. Silence filled the space between us again. Staring at my hands, losing my job hurts, I whispered. But this feels worse. I told myself I was paranoid. I told myself stress was twisting my thoughts. I told myself marriage had quiet phases, but trust shouldn't feel this fragile. I lay back and closed my eyes, listening to her footsteps on the other side of the wall. Each sound felt distant, like she already lived somewhere else. I didn't sleep much that night. Every time I closed my eyes, the silence got louder. And somewhere deep inside me, I went back to the office the next morning to collect what was left of my life. The receptionist looked up and said, Oh, hi. Morning, I replied. Her smile faded. You can go in. I nodded and walked past her, every step heavier than the last. When I reached my desk, I stopped. Someone was sitting in my chair. Evan looked up and stood quickly. Hey, he said. I didn't know you'd come today. That's my chair, I said. Oh, he replied, stepping aside. Sorry, habit, I guess. Habit. I stared at my desk. My desk. My files were gone. My photos were gone. It looked cleaner, like I'd never existed. You can take your time, Evan said. No rush. I looked at him. You're very comfortable. He smiled. I like to settle in fast. That's obvious. He laughed lightly. No hard feelings, right? I didn't answer. I opened a drawer and found nothing. Around us, keyboards clicked. Phones rang. No one looked at me, I said. Guess I didn't leave much behind. Evan shrugged. Corporate life moves quick. Yeah, I replied. So do replacements. His smile twitched. It wasn't personal. I picked up the empty box I brought and turned away. That was when I saw Sarah. She stood near the copier, pretending to fix a paper jam. Her eyes met mine, then dropped. Sarah, I said. She flinched and walked over. Hey, you okay? I asked. She nodded too fast. Yeah, just busy. I lowered my voice. You look guilty, she swallowed. I didn't know how to stop it. Stop what? She glanced at Evan, then said, Meet me later. Why later? Because walls have ears, she whispered. I nodded once. As I walked toward Victor's office. Evan followed. You need a signature for security. I need answers, I replied. Victor was already standing when I entered. This isn't a good time. It's perfect, I said. Explain, he sighed. We've been over this. No, I replied. You talked. I listened. Now I talk. He folded his arms. Your role was redundant. So was honesty, I said. He stiffened. Watch your tone. Watch your lies, I snapped. Was this about money? He looked away. Budget played a part. And Evan? I asked. Did he play a part? Victor's jaw tightened. This discussion is over. Then why does he know my schedule? I asked. Victor blinked. What? I turned to Evan. You told someone my wife works late on Thursdays. Evan hesitated. I heard it around. From where? I demanded. He smiled again. You talk a lot. That smile felt wrong. Too familiar. I left before my hands did something stupid. Outside. Sarah met me by the stairs. She said quietly. You didn't deserve this. Then why did it happen? I asked. She looked down. Because you trusted people. That's not an answer. She sighed. Evan wanted more than your job. My chest tightened. Like what? She shook her head. I can't say, I laughed without humor. Everyone keeps saying that. As I walked away, Evan called out, Good luck. I turned back. Enjoy my chair? He smiled wider. I already am. That was when the shock finally broke. Anger rushed in to take its place. Something had been taken from me. And it wasn't an accident.